Yo, 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 what up, what up, what up? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street, guys. It's been a heck of a market. Let's dig into what's happening with the market indexes, and then let's dig into today's watch list. I'll keep this short and sweet. So first thing you always want to do when you are running your weekend scans is do a quick look at the indexes to see what was hot, what was not. So if you're looking and you take a look at the indexes, what you'll start to see, right? A big run in bonds. You got the TMS. That's the 3X ETF for TLT. You can see TLT's just been on a monster tear. This is bullish for the market. We want to see rates go down. So as this is going up, the market is also going up. This is the correlation that's been holding nonstop, and it has been holding strong. So we've got ourselves a big run in this, but we are getting a little bit overbought here. So we're going to have to be a little bit careful. The market is strong, but we may see some chop. We may see some consolidation. There are not very many names that are not up like 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. So we've got to be careful. But, this was up 15% the last 5 days. The solars, I think this is going to be probably the next big kind of sector running in the next couple months because it's the most beaten down name of the year, down 30% on the year. But I think it's, the pain was even more than that. If you look at like SEDG and ENPH and SunPower, right? You're talking 70, 80, 90%, up 15% on the week, 13% on the week. I got a couple solar names on the watch list. They are a little bit extended. Once you get into post day 3, the chances of snapbacks get higher, right? Day 1, day 2, you could hit breakouts. Day 3s, day 4s, you got to be a little bit more careful, but we've got a good look on this. Look at this. This is why I think we may have a little bit of chopper pullback in the market. The SMH of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in a row. We're pretty overbought here. Look at where the 9 EMA is. You've got, 7 points off of this. So, this is probably the time to maybe look at a little SOC 6, right? For a quick bounce, or you can short SOC sell if you want. This one does a lot of liquidity too. One of these, I think we're going to get a play in the SMH at some point. If the market pulls back, that's where I want to go on the short. And then you've got home builders here too, right? Up 7%. But look how damn extended we are. We had a nice flag here, and now we've gone breakout. 2 all-time highs. Think about that. With all this commotion about real estate and all this stuff, home builders are at all-time highs. Anytime you're on T-Studs, you want to dig up a couple home builders, right? Go and hit this 3-prong button, and you will see a list of home builder stocks here. And you can see if you do a 90-day sort, you've got a whole host of these bad boys. Usually BLDR trades the best out of the group, I always find. But more of a swing trade stock, not great for day trading, but it's got good range. The T2108 indicator. This is a measure of your market breadth. We are not at extreme levels, but guys, keep an eye. If this gets to 80, it's probably going to tell us that we're getting a little sharp snapback in the market. So that can happen at any time. Let's be careful here. If this starts to push, the market goes nuts, and we get into the 80s, it's going to set for a wicked short-term snapback. And so we got to keep that in the back of the mind. But look at this. Like, this is what I mean, right? Just true parabolic. This is IBB. Right? If you look at LABU, that's the 3X ETF for this thing, right? You're up 30, 40 points like in the last few days. This is like just pure extension in the markets. We've got to be careful right now. We don't want to be chasing anything up here. If you see the QQQs, like it's not as extended as the SMH, but right, we are getting into some rare territory here. Guys, keep an eye on this number right here. Right, that is going to be your resistance into all-time highs. I believe the mark is like, it looks like it is this particular day. If you look, 405, 406-ish, so we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. The SPY's at the similar spot. So we got to be, we've crossed over one breakout, but we're under the all-time highs. Do we probably break out? It sure feels like it, right? But that doesn't mean that short term we can't have any, snapbacks and things like that. When you get so giddy, right? When you have something like, right, SMH and stuff like this going so giddy, you've got to be careful I've got like such a huge watch list of stocks, but there's not many stocks that are not like, like 7, 8 days, right? Where you're just like straight up runs, right? So we have to be careful. My plan for today, when I was making the watch list, was to find some names that just weren't that extended, right? So that, we can play, especially on the mid cap side of things, right? The large caps have been dead, but on the mid cap side of things, find stocks that are not so far off their base so that if the market does snap back a little bit, we're not left in the dust with like, some nasty little, right? Some nasty little pullback and we get stopped out of everything. So let's go into the watch list. I added a couple random names I normally wouldn't trade, but I think this is probably the market for it. VFS here, you got a nice pullback into the 50-day moving average, a little bit of a pop into the close. I didn't see if there was any news out, but I do think probably something like this is going to have a chance this coming week if the market stays up. Something to be just mindful of. I got Chewy on the watch list too here for a bottoming base breakout. This used to be, right, $125. Look, Etsy's going, right? W's going. At some point, old Chewy is going to get bitten up. I mean, dude, Americans love dogs, right? How can this stock go down, right? People love dogs more than they love their children. It's blasphemy for this thing to be so low. Let's watch this one. We had a nice tight range on this. I think if it takes up 2150, we've got ourselves a chance. Old Dropbox is a flat top breakout here, right? Test, 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 test. Watch for any pullbacks into the breakout spot. I think this one's got some continuation that can happen. I got all these solar stocks on watch list. I think they're going to need a week open for us to want to play, though. They just sat around. But you've got a spot here at 625 on SPWR. Let it pull back, and then, you go red to green, breakout 625. I think that's going to be a good one, right? Same thing. Like, these got to pull back just a little bit, but any kind of weakness on these ones, you see sharp pulls into support. Start mapping out the gap spots, the support spots. You see any sharp pulls into any of these zones down here, it's gonna be some fun on these solars. I think they run it. The tax loss selling is probably done on this. You got a trend line break on SMCI. It was at a really tight range on Friday. I think this one might be one of those ones that it goes out of the gate tomorrow. It trades a little bit weird in that it's thin and there's like spreads on them. So you got to be a little bit careful. You got to layer into it properly. But I've got 302-ish trigger on this thing. We were messing around with it. I took a few points on it a couple times on Friday, but it would behoove it to have an inside day or two here to let this 9 EMA catch up. We're not often getting those, but that's going to be probably important. If we could just get a sideways day, it sets up a lot of charts. We had a narrow range inside day on CVNA, right? So you had the big push inside day. Guys, in this market, inside day setups have been working really, really good. Probably that 57, 56, 57's in the cards here. It could use another inside day to let this EMA catch up. Once again, we're not always getting it, but that would be a big help. PDD's got a flag pattern, right? The gap up. Now you got the sideways consolidation. It's got a good look to it. We can get that thing going here. Watch for any tap backs into the 1450 zone on IONQ. The volume is starting to pick up on this. I think it's got a chance. It is, once again, another day 3 type of play. We need pullbacks, right? We just can't be chasing all these things up so many days in a row. But I'm looking for inside day scans, right? So if you go, on your TC1000, you go, inside day. I do inside day bottoming and then regular inside day. But this arm's got an inside day too. Obviously, this thing cost me twice last week. I got this epic rip on it on this pullback here, and then I farted around and gave most of it back. I fucking hate this stock. And so I got to nail this thing. I got to nail this thing for moral reasons, right? I got to nail this thing for moral reasons. Like, I ain't messing around. This thing cost me too much money, but it did have an inside day. 71.50, I think, could go on this bad boy. We're not getting many. Guys, there are not many basey plays here, but I want these inside day plays. W had an inside day too. Guys, when the market goes, W tends to, be a big, big mover. It's a low flow, 30 name, mid cap though, 6 billion. 6 to 10, 12 billion is like the perfect market cap in this kind of market. You got an pop inside day on this one. Dude, watch this one for that 66, 67 zone. AI had a rest day too, for the most part. It tried to break out, but it was a little bit too extended. Let's see if we get a week open. I wouldn't be surprised to see a show and go on that one. Riot, beautiful flag on this one. Bitcoin's a little bit weak this weekend. Looks like we're around 41,050 currently. This has got a nice level here, though. If you look here, this is a 30-minute chart. We've got about 16 spot on this. Dudes, right? That's got a good look on this. PayPal had a nice weakness on Friday after the big extension on the gap. You know, we're coming back and retesting the 60. Any weakness on this one tomorrow that gets me closer to that 60, I'm going to try this bad boy for red to green, maybe for a little swingy life. I think it's got a good look. A week open on Kava would be 1 red day, 2 red day, 3 red days usually leads to bounce. Week open on Kava, we take this thing red to green right away. UPSD is a daily trader. Oh, that was the one I was looking for. Hey, Hood had a PR out that there was a news article out, I believe, in the Wall Street Journal that, you know, they were getting some high ticket accounts, which I've never heard anybody with more than $5,000 ever trade at Robinhood. But I guess they took in a lot of deposits because they have something going where they're giving like a 1% deposit bonus or something. So like a lot of the big, some bigger accounts from Ameritrade and, you know, eSlut and some of these guys are going. So watch this Hood tomorrow. We kind of consolidating around. This stock sucks to trade, but you may get a squeeze on this one. Peloton had a 5% down move after such a big day. I consider this an inside day. I got an alert set on this one, but like I think we might even have to get in before that. There's not many of these bottoming plays left, guys. We got to take part in it. You know, I think that one's got a good look to it. And look, there's a million of these things here. I'm watching this Adobe too. This was a gap down. A lot of these gap downs, they're reversing, right? Like if you look at, you know, Pan W or something like that, right? You gap down, complete reversal. You know, Doc, you gap down on earnings, they complete reversal. You're seeing a lot of this. Adobe's on a little bit of a late reaction. RH, man, I had an epic swing going in this one. Gap down on earnings. I sold it like a piker, but well, this thing had an awesome run. So they're filling these gaps here because the market's so strong. You know, they're taking some of this weakness and just buying it. And we're seeing that a lot. So I think that's a possibility with Adobe, but it does trade thin. So you got to be careful with this. You know, FSLR had a nice, you know, range on it too, but this needs weakness, right? You don't want to chase when the market's this overbought. You don't want to chase something on a day 4, day 5, guys. Trust me on this one. We're getting a little bit of frothy, but there are a few stocks that are still near bases. Not as many as there were last week, though, right? So weakness on Monday, weakness on Tuesday would be welcome. If that happens and we can short some of these like overbought names, right? I mean, that's pretty, you know, you could just take anyone, right? If you go and say you do, you know, you look at your kind of general watch list and do like a, you know, 30-day, right? 30-day short, right? UPST, Mara, AAY, Affirm, something like that. I would come in on the short on any one of these if the market starts to roll over. Remember when the market starts to roll over, CDA tends to get dusted the most, and when the market runs, it tends to do the same. I think UPST and Affirm also have great liquidity in them. See this 11 million, 21 million, 12 million. So they're liquid. They're up a lot. If we need pulls, we can do that or something like Coin, you know, and these are daily traders anyways, but I think if the market pulls, that's where we want to go. Guys, don't get too frothy tomorrow. There's like, we're extended, but the market is strong. A day or two sideways movement is not going to kill anybody. Hopefully we get it, or at least just a week open tomorrow, you know, so we can scalp around a little bit, but I would not chase any gap up tomorrow. You're going to have to let your ranges settle if that happens. So take care, guys. Peace.